John and Peter had an equal amount of money at first. After John received $46.30 from his father and Peter spent $20.10, John had twice as much money as Peter. How much did John have at first? All right, so again, there's a change involving both boys, like what we see in concept 1 and 2, pretty similar. Okay, likewise, as again, you notice that the before, at first, equal, John in the end, all right, in the end, they have thrice. John has thrice of Peter. So notice that the before as well as the after, both are referring to units. Okay, they actually provide us information that relates closely to units. So again, would you use before change after or would you use model? So in such a situation, I explained before, we use models to solve. All right. So when you have before units and after units, model is the best. All right. If you do before change after, you realize that you'll be stuck. You won't have any idea how to continue. So we are going to start with John and Peter. Equal money at first. So I just followed that. Now, John receives 46.30 from his father. So if you are receiving money, means that your model extends, becomes longer. So we're going to extend by 46.30. Remember to use dotted lines to do this. Okay, because when you use dotted lines, you will then later clearly recognize which values comes in later and which was your original model. Okay, the old versus the new model. Now for Peter, let's look at Peter. Peter spends $20.10. So if he spends away his current money, that means his current money will reduce, will decrease. All right, so we have to shade away $20.10 from his current model. Right? Now, once this is done, if you read through the after part, we now know in the end, John has thrice. That means now John finally has 3 units and Peter has 1 unit. So let's identify where is John's 3 units. Now, obviously, I am unable to cut John's model into 3 parts. All right, so do recognize that John's new model is this whole entire thing. All right, I should mention that first. John's new model is this whole thing, including the 46.30, right? Because that's what he received. Which means that I recognize that this whole thing should be treated as 3 units. But of course, I noticed that it's very difficult to cut into 3 units. Well, never mind, okay? You can just simply label with an arrow, stretch it out, and that will be the whole 3 units. You will still be able to work your way through later on, so do not worry about that. Now, let's talk about Peter. So if John has thrice of Peter, in other words, Peter now has 1 unit. And where is Peter's now? His new model, where is it? So it's only the white color portion, no more shaded part. Remember, this was what he spent away. So in the end, whatever is left, the white color part, is Peter's new 1 unit, as stated here, thrice of Peter. So this is 1 unit. Okay, so I think it's important that everyone knows what to recognize, which part is your units that tallies with the question. In 3 units, you must be able to tell from where to where, how long, how big the model represents 3 units. Same for the 1 unit. Okay, so done. So now I look at my model, see what I can solve from there. So looking at my model, you notice that the units, okay, this much is 3U, this much is 1U. Which means the difference between 3 and 1U, 2 units, correct? Where is my 2 units difference? So my 2 units difference will be from here to here, right? It starts from here, it ends off here because my 3 units stretches all the way to here. So it's like part and whole concept, all right? So this is my 2 units. And we can find out the value of these 2 units for sure because I see from the model the things that are inside the 2 units, the things that constitutes the 2 units will be this $20.10 as well as this gap here. This gap is 46.30. So these 2 things, we have to add them together. And that will be the 2 units value. All right. So now I can go on to find 1 unit. Just divide by 2. Once I found 1 unit, read back the question. The question is asking for John at first. So let's identify where is 1 unit first. So 1 unit, $33.20 is this part because that is Peter's new 1 unit, the white color portion. So now I want John at first. Now, remember John at first is only the solid model here, not including the dotted line, because this dotted line is what he received later on. So at first, is only this part. Now, you'll notice this part is actually the same as Peter at first, because remember when we started drawing both guys have equal at first, which is this part here, and same for Peter, this part here. Okay, so if I want to find at first for John, there are two ways. You can go on to find 3 units, and then you take away 4630. That's one way. Or another way is you make use of Peter. Now, which way is easier? I would think using Peter is easier because Peter already got 1 unit value here. So if Peter at first is this whole stretch, I will just simply add these 2 numbers. And those 2 numbers, when I add them together, it's Peter's at first, but it's also referring to John's at first. And this will be my answer.